So today's video is going to be a video on how to blend out outgrown blonde hair, just doing a foil. And I'm just doing a partial today because I realized that a lot of clients don't want to do a full transformation all in one day. So this is going to be how to achieve your desired look by just doing a partial foil. So I'm starting off by doing some medium weaves in just regular foiling. And I'm making sure not to overlap any of the bleach that is previously on her hair. I'm only touching up the roots. And I'm doing a mix of medium weaves, a little bit of thicker slices, and some baby fine baby lights. And doing this is going to give her that dimensional look back in her hair without having to do a whole lot of color correcting and low lighting, because she does want to be super blonde as possible. So, and the reason why I'm not doing back-to-back foils is because we wanted a little bit more of a dimensional look, because she is quite heavy blonde in the mid-shaft and the ends. So I'm kind of using how much outgrowth she had to my advantage, and I'm going to create kind of like a shadow root without actually having to do all of that work. Ideally, I probably would have done a little bit of shadow root, maybe a low light in there, but not every client wants all of that done, and sometimes people have budgets or whatever, time issues, whatever it may be. So I just kind of wanted to show you that you don't need to turn people away just because, they don't want to spend 5 hours doing a color correction. You can give them what they are looking for, with, kind of what you have. So in some sections like this one right here, I'm doing a little bit of a medium weave, and I'm doing deeper weaves, and you can see that as I bring my brush up to the top of the foil, I'm just blending it into the root, so it's still going to give a highlighted look where it's all the way up to the scalp, but I'm kind of blending it up maybe a 1/4 inch before I hit the top of the foil. I'm just going to blend it up as you see that I'm doing right here. I turn my brush to the side, and what that's going to do is it's going to kind of give that balayage illusion, and you're not going to get those foil lines that you can normally get when you just do a regular foil. As you can see, I left the front section where like a bang would be out, and I'll show you what I do with that in a minute. As I get closer and closer to the top of the head, I'm doing thinner and thinner sections and taking smaller and smaller weaves. And what that's going to do is just going to make sure that everything blends and you don't have any chunky pieces. And I'm doing the highlights closer together towards the top just so we don't see all of that outgrowth, and everything blends seamlessly. As you can see here, I did leave out the first section by the ear just because there was a little bit more breakage there. If she wanted that money piece look, then I wouldn't leave that first piece out, but she didn't mind, so I just kind of gave that piece a break. Everything blends in the end, but if they don't care about the money pieces, then and they have a lot of breakage around the face, then I would refrain from highlighting those, and maybe just do some baby lights right above that just so everything blends. And as you can see here, I do take some slices in there just because she did have a lot of outgrowth, and if we just did a baby light, you would still be able to see that line of demarcation where her outgrowth is. So mixing the weaves and baby lights and slices and everything, just make sure that you don't see any of those lines in the hair. I do leave a little bit of hair out right in the bang area on both sides just to do the money pieces in the end. And then moving on to the front of the head where the bang section would be, this is called money pieces, and it's kind of just where you create some bigger blonde pieces right in the front of the hair where the bang area would be. So I always direct this forward, and the reason why is because you want this to be super, super close to the scalp. You don't want to balayage or anything. It's usually slices, but she didn't really want money pieces per se. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking weaves, and I'm making sure that it's really close to the scalp, and I'm only doing the outgrowth just like I did the whole head, and I'm just going to highlight that, but I'm not really leaving any hair in between. So that's what's going to give that money piece illusion without having any thick slices in the front, just because she didn't want that look, but she does want that look, if you know what I mean. So I'm just doing 3 back-to-back foils, and I'm doing some pretty thick weaves just to give that illusion, but it's still not like a super thick slice. It's really good to do this technique if your client wants to see a lot of blonde around their face, because you can get away with not doing so many back-to-back foils throughout the whole head, because the first piece they see is their bang area, like the front area. So if you don't want to do a back-to-back foil on somebody but they want to be super blonde, just throw some money pieces in and you can pretty much get away with just a regular highlight. So that's just a little stylist tip. Moving on to toning, I'm toning with Redken Shades EQ, and I'm using 9N, 9P, and 9V. I'm using mostly 9N, but I am putting the 9P and 9V in there just because she did have some yellowy tones and brassy tones in the hair. So I'm not mixing this one with Crystal Clear. Normally with my blondes, I would mix it with Crystal Clear just to create a 10, but I am leaving it at a level 9 because I'm doing most of the toning up by the root. Her ends are pretty blonde, so I'm kind of just running the toner through the ends the last few minutes of toning, but I am leaving it mostly on the root area for the longest amount of time. And what that's going to do is it's going to blend out the hair, blend out those foil lines, and kind of create that shadow root that normally you would choose a darker color for. But I'm just going to do a level 9 because some pieces in her hair are a level 10. So that's kind of a little trick to create that shadow root without actually doing a darker color if they want to be super blonde, if that makes any sense. So I did pre-tone with some purple shampoo. This is Redken Blondage, and then I'm going to, like I said, put the toner all over her roots, let that sit for the majority of the time, and then run it through her ends the last few minutes just to make sure that I tackle any of those brassy tones in the hair.
Some songs about Ricky, now I listen and laugh. Even almost got married, and for Pete I'm so thankful. Wish I could say thank you to Malcolm, cause he was an angel. One taught me love, one taught me patience, and one taught me pain. Now I'm so amazing to have loved and I've loved, but that's not what I see. So look what I got, look what you taught me. Yeah, for that I say thank you.
I did finish out her hair with Olaplex step number 2, and I just did a regular blow dry on her, and now I'm curling her hair with a wand. I would normally use a regular curling iron, but I didn't have mine that day, so I'm just using a 1.5 to 2 inch wand. And yeah, this is the finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful, and I will see you in my next video.
Spend more time with my friends.